Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Basden. Joining me, our co-host Maceo Dill and Garrett Punchy Dill. We await Coach Nikita Robinson to join us later on in the show. But gentlemen, some very interesting score lines this past week. We'll start off, we'll just run down the scores. In the Dudley quarterfinals midweek, it was Somerset Trojans 3, Somerset Trojans 4, Crossroads 3, Devonshire Cougars 3, Boulevard Blazers 1. And then in Premier Division action on Thursday night, it was Robin Hood 0, North Village Rams 4. And last night at the PHC Stadium, it was PHC Zebras 3, Somerset Trojans 1. Today it was St. George's Colts 5, Hamilton Parish 2, Crossroads 1, Dandytown Hornets 2. In First Division, it was Somerset Eagles 2, Island Rangers 5. That was yesterday. And then today it was Southampton Rangers 1, Paget Lions 1, St. David's 1, Wolves 5. So those are the results that we have over this past week in local football. Let's start right off the bat with that quarterfinal match between Somerset Trojans and Crossroads that ended 4-3 to Somerset Trojans. Again, Maceo, we see Somerset scoring, but also giving up goals, and it's got to be a real concern. They were able to win this one and advance to the semifinal, but it's got to be a concern that they're giving up 3 goals a game. For the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a chance to speak with Scott Morton up at Somerset, and I obviously know Scott from the time I spent with him at North Village, working with him at North Village, and he recognizes the job he has to do up there. He recognizes the job he has to do in instilling discipline up there, instilling a way of playing football up there, instilling good training habits, and stealing all those things that come with success and winning. Yeah, and far too long, as it happens in Bermuda, we're internally measuring ourselves, and somebody new comes in with a different standard, a different way of measure. So what I mean by that, Somerset over the years as a club is it measured themselves, and and when you measure yourself, there's always going to be some biasness in measuring yourself versus somebody else coming in fresh and measuring themselves. What's going to be interesting is Somerset going to take to the discipline that Morty is going to start to instill up there. As far as you have to come training to play, this is how we're going to be doing it. And I'll cross-reference a little bit with Morty at North Village and Morty at PHC. Morty at PHC, was only allowing Marco Warren to receive the ball in the last third, and Sequoia Robinson had to play in this way and had to do things in this way. And that made him successful with that type of discipline. Whereas now Marco Warren plays for PHC, and he gets the ball from the goalkeeper, gets the ball from the right back, he moves all over the place, and he's not getting close enough to goal. So Scott's got a little job to do. He knows the job has got to do to instill the discipline and the habits that lead to success up there. But he's in trouble. He's going to be in trouble. There's no illusion the trouble that is going to be in to be able to actually convince the people in Somerset and the team in Somerset to move in a certain way.
And Punchy, obviously, on the flip side of that, you have Crossroads. They're leaking goals upon goals each game, and it's got to be a concern for Ralph Bean, especially in this game. It's a quarterfinal. It's a spot in these semifinals. You're looking at how your season has started. You may want to throw all your apples in that basket to try to lift the team to get to a semifinal or a final. It didn't work, but the concerns that Ralph would have with that Crossroads team.
Oh yeah, for sure. You just look at the statistics in terms of how many goals they've let in, and the match that I saw. What was most interesting, the match that I saw on the Devonshire Rec that night. And how they leak goals against PHC. Ralph is again taking over this head coaching job, and his thought set is, I know where he comes from in terms of philosophy of good football, winning games the right way. But his problem is, which is it's going to happen at Crossroads, is that I don't think he has the players to do that. So he has to figure out how is he gonna make sure that we can get by with North or 1-0 or 2-1 that you can win by. And I haven't seen it with Corsairs yet. And we know, just like I said, if you look at how many goals they've conceded, Gumbo, his Ralph has got to do something about that. And you know what it does after a while? It just, your confidence is just as goes. Now, I think we talked about Donovan Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who's next? Who comes in line? Who takes his spot? In terms of those goal scoring threat, would he move Shea Brangman farther forward? Because I still think that Shea should play forward more. But what else does defensively? That's too many goals, and Gumbo's really got his work cut out for him. Really.
Let me ask you both. We're talking Somerset and Crossroads right now, and both coaches want their teams to put the ball on the ground, knock it around, and do that. But do they have the players to do that? So should they try to go the old English way, go direct, take the pressure off the defense, and not have them try to play the ball out of the defense? Because that's not working right now. So wouldn't you try to do? Let's go, channel one and just keep knocking the ball forward. Because not in our half, they can't score.
Earl, let me. I'm sorry, Macy. Earl, I'm very good question because I wrote some notes on that. I have a good discussion with a colleague of mine that I work with. He plays for St. George's anyway. We were discussing this when I watched teams playing, and you don't have the quality in midfield. You can play 4 passes and go over the top and score 2 goals, or you can score from set pieces. I think what's happening now is we're looking at Somerset conceding these goals, Crossroads conceding these goals. They don't have the quality. So why even, like when I saw Somerset out Devonshire Rack last week against Cougars on a Sunday, I was like, whoa, you're trying to play 4 passes in the midfield, put the ball on the top, play wide, have 2 wide wingers the old-fashioned way that Somerset play, or wingbacks, and see what you can do and help Corday up there. Because I think it's Corday that plays for him. What's his name?
Yeah, Corday.
Yeah. Not bad. I think his movement is good. He doesn't have his speed. But then what I would want to do is say, just play 3-3-2 or come up with a system where you definitely have wide pace. The outlet should be out wide, ball down, ball in. And that's why I was really confused out there that day against, and he didn't change it, which I was concerned for. He didn't change it. I guess, we get caught up in this romance of good football, touch football. The romance of, that looks good. Yeah, but he doesn't have the players. And Crossroads don't have them neither in special parts of the field that matter.
Yeah, I mean, coaching, I know coaches. I know other coaches from other taking coaching courses from they're reluctant to move away from what their philosophy of the game is. A great example of what you're talking about is the Earl PAC, where Nia understood he didn't have certain players, and he had to play more direct. He had to play long balls over the top. He had to use the athletes in his team. Carl Lightbourne, very athletic. Mike Deal, very athletic. Frankie Mean, very athletic, and he had 1 or 2 schemers in the team in Buller Anderson that he would allow to scheme, but he played from back to front. He had Rango, very athletic, not the best tactical player. So he used tactics to be able to dominate a league for a long time. And it created that type of football, created a very contrasting situation of a PAT at that time had to play at North Village. Where a different type of player where North Village had touch players. It had but it made it for an exciting game. But the modern day coaches, they're watching Klopp, they're watching Pep Guardiola, they're watching all these things, and they want to be able to play football in a way. But I keep going back to play football in that way is very, very hard. And if you're not developing the youth players to get to that level, don't think you can do that at the senior levels to play romantic football. If you're not developing the players to be able to do that.
Right.
And they don't have them. We're finding out up Somerset and Crossroads, they don't have it.
Yeah. And then that nightcap, it was Devonshire Cougars 3, Boulevard Blazers 1. again, another team that is struggling to find the back of the net and is giving away goals in Boulevard Blazers. So Punchy, Joe Ma, I mean, got his hands full. Not just with what he wants to accomplish on the field, but he has got to kind of make how Boulevard to become a team. And do you think he can do that?
It's challenging because Maceo speaks about Joe Ma's challenges and Scott's challenges with the teams they have, what they have at their disposal. Boulevard don't have a whole lot of. Well, you got Jose Samuels that's there, right? Uh-huh. And then you got the other young man. I don't know his name that caused the trouble the other night out BA when he was,
Kamali Davis.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Now let's go beyond that. Then you have Clay Darrow. Okay, but let's go after you feed the attacking players, right? What do they have defensively? And I looked at them. I was like, they're slow. I think Joe Ma's trying to do the same thing, trying to create this passing game. But I think Joe Ma's got a whole lot of mountains to climb because, first of all, he doesn't have the speed in that team. There's really no speed in that team. And at the back, they're not got quality. So he's got his work cut out for him at Boulevard, definitely. And it's going to be interesting, as we spoke at the beginning of this show this year, of the coaches who have moved around. Now they're going to look like, I don't have this as my, I don't have these players. What am I going to do? Is it going to be a change? What is my philosophy about? And I'm going to make this short. When I first went down to the Davids, I had the same thought. I'm going to go back for some time and about coaching when I first got my badges. And so I was, again, the same, going to training sessions and all the preseason games, we were losing. So I said, you know what? Lucky, God bless you, lucky pitcher, you're going to be the distributor. Jerry Lewis, you're going to play high. We're going to play you, and the balls are coming to the top. 4 passes, and I want the ball in the space of Jerry Lewis. And it worked. It really did work. It worked a lot. But it worked for me. So I figured, well, get a hold of your ego. Make sure you understand what you're working with. So I think what I think is happening there now with some of these, with Somerset, with Boulevard, with Crossroads, with these coaches, they're going to have to decide on what they're going to do because they have to fix this.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah. And Maceo, you often talk about what Devonshire Cougars have. Coach Kwame has. Right now they're on so much confidence. Where do you see them? Because now you look at that draw from the other nights when it's going to be Devonshire Cougars in North Village, and it's Hamilton Parish and Somerset. But looking at Devonshire Cougars, I mean, they come in off a game beating Somerset 6-0, and then they're playing against a Boulevard team that is lacking confidence right now. But where do you see Devonshire Cougars from all of this?
Well, to be honest, they're winning games because of the experience of knowing how to win and the stature of the club. They're not yet playing well. They're not playing well. They're not controlling games well. They're winning games. They're winning games, and they're not put. For me, the coach has not put together the whole puzzle yet to really dominate games. But they are winning games because they know how to. They know where to defend. They know where the danger is in defending, and they know where the danger is in attacking, and they know where to attack. They're not yet controlling games. So, he's going to have to put that puzzle together. And if I look at Kwame's history of coaching, when he's got all the players available, he does a very good job. Remember at any time when he had all the players available to him, he did a very good job of dominating games. And as soon as he didn't have the players available, he struggled a little bit to get that rhythm of his team. He seems to be in that same space again, with. He's not got Rwanda Bascom available yet. He's not got everybody available just yet. But I think once he gets it available, it's going to be, you're going to see them go from strength to strength. But as you're speaking of the game that they play North Village, that's going to be really tricky because North Village is defending well. North Village is not giving up goals. So we talk about teams not giving up goals, and North Village is a team that's not giving up goals and giving themselves an opportunity to score. So that favors them against Devonshire Colts, right? Devonshire Cougars.
Yeah, but okay. So you're saying that they're not ticking on all cylinders, but they're winning. So as we all know in Bermuda, winning brings confidence. So if they're getting away with it and they're not playing well, the confidence is still there. So if and when those players do come in, imagine how much higher of the confidence they will then have.
I agree. And I think Cormier has the ability to manage personality players. And we later in the show we'll get a bit we'll cross reference with Pagic's inability.
Definitely. But we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, I did forget a result. The late game last week, it was Dandytown 3, Boulevard Blazers 0. We'll get back to that when we come back. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, it was that late game last week where Dandytown Hornets defeated Boulevard Blazers 3-0 with Sequoia back in the team now. He seems like he's picking up taking the goal scoring responsibility. Just looking at Dandytown, as we talked earlier, they had their struggles, but they were able to put it together against a Boulevard team that, again, lacked that confidence. I mean, they would have lost that 3-0 on the Sunday night and then going up to PHC and lost again to Devonshire Cougars. So looking at what Dandytown's been able to do last week Sunday night, in beating Boulevard. Maceo, I'll give you the opportunity this time to talk about Joma and Boulevard again, and we know the struggle.
Well, I've had the opportunity to talk to Jamar. He does promise me he'll come on the show and give his side of things. Of course, he wasn't happy with me speaking of him being disorganized, his football being disorganized. But I think the amount of goals that he gives up shows that there's a level of disorganization in how he sets his team up. That's just facts, and that's just stats speaking for itself. When you give up this amount of goals, and contrary, Jomar has one of the better defenders in Bermuda, individual defenders, in this guy Jerome, the captain. Jerome. He is actually a really, really, really good defender, good player. So again, it's how Jamar sets up his team, is what information that he gives to his team, and how he tries to play football based on where they are in their development level. You know, and I think he's reading the room wrong as to where these players are. He's reading the room wrong because they're not in this level where you can go and play expensive football. You can open up. They're not at that level. So as a coach, I think he's reading the room wrong, and a lot of the coaches are reading the room wrong as to what the capability of their team is, and how they set their team up, the information that they give the team, and how they select their team.
Right. And Punchy with Dennytown in that match, they had a 2-0 lead at the half, so that would have relaxed them and again confidence builder because they of late they had been struggling, but they were able to get themselves together and pull off this victory. I mean, you know, a week before they had lost to Hamilton Parish, so you know, trying to get back on track. You know, Dennytown, what's your thoughts on them in that particular match out BAA Field last week Sunday evening?
Maybe I'll go. I think I'll refer back to what Mason said at the beginning of the season. They got a hangover from last year. There's a hangover with someone else in charge. The information coming out when things ain't going right. How do you fix it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought, well, they get over this little bubble and they're, but it seems to be lingering on. You know, like the other night, I think they won just about. They beat someone 2-1 the other night. Am I correct?
That was today.
Yeah. So my with Dennytown, it's going to be interesting to see how what they do because you know there's talent there. Again, there is talent, but again, how do you reinvigorate those players that want something? And Maceo touched on that also. Again, I'm referring to once they want something, you know, can they keep doing? Can they get better and better? I thought Jay's job would have been easy. I would say, look. All we got to do is add to this. All we got to do this, but it seems like they're struggling in areas, and they're also giving up goals. Also, they're giving up goals. Also, but you know they still have talent. There's talent there. So, you know, I think that it's just we'll have to see when they get into the semifinals if they, you know, what will Dennytown really be doing in the next couple of weeks, couple of games. Be interesting to see about that. The results.
They'll actually decide. They'll decide who wins the league. They won't win it themselves. But they'll huff and puff through the season. But they're not going to muster the strength to be able to be contending.
I'm laughing because last season there was all this talk about PHC running away with it, and Dennytown quietly put themselves in the mix and quietly then took the lead. So you know. If they can just get on a run and you know the game they won today, so that's 2 wins in a row. That's in the league. So you know I mean it's early days and the league is not going to be decided in the next few weeks, but someone could take themselves out of it in the next few weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to the Thursday night match where. North Village Rams defeated Robin Hood 4-0. Maceo, with you mentioned it earlier, North Village are being very stingy in the giving up goals department. What do you attribute that to? Because a season ago they were leaking goals on a regular.
Yeah. I mean, Deidre Bell. Deidre Bell is a goalkeeper, organizing his back four, you know, knowing how to organize himself. He's becoming hard to score on. Kenny now having a settled team. I mean, some things presented itself, just worked itself out in time. You know, how he organizes that puzzle. And I always I talked about the guy Ian Simmons and Tamai Williams being the center of North Village's midfield, and they wasn't just the two of them weren't getting the job done. You know, with Trey Mean now is a master tactician as to reading the game. He reads the room well. He makes good passes. He makes good decisions. And then he can score. So those are things that that players like Trey Mean on the field are working out how to do that. I heard Trey Mean shout to the bench the other day, right? He said, "You guys are just shouting anything. If you're going to shout something, shout the right thing." That's his experience. Again, you got the bench shouting stuff because something went wrong or whatever. But now it's about shouting. It's about giving the right information, and that's what a player like Trey Me understands. He understands the right information and the right time for certain things in the game, and you could see him in that midfield making that difference. And yeah, certain things worked itself out where when I saw them play Hamilton Parish, they brought in this young kid at right back. They Tyler Knight struggled at right back to make passes out of there. The young kid makes much better passes. Tyler Knight goes in the center of the field and is much better in the center of the field because he can
He's a ball winner.
Huh?
He's a ball winner. He's a ball winner.
He is a ball winner.
He's
There's a ball winner. Then after that, so again, this is about the puzzle, reading the room. This is the evidence what I'm talking about. People learning to put the puzzle together. And North Village is putting that puzzle together that makes them a contender now. It makes them a contender because you can't score on them. And then they have some quality in the front that you just give them an opportunity to win games, right? So they have Jazal there, they have Bow there, Justin Bow up there. They have Nakori Smith. So they have players that would take a goal if you at least give them the opportunity. And that's what to defend.
Yeah. I want to make a note that the last time North Village had a quote unquote goalkeeper, they won the league with Taj Bell.
Yeah,
good point.
So you have somebody that North Village has got the history of the club behind them, right? They got the history of winning behind them. So that makes a big difference where he's helping to organize his team, right?
And Punchy, clearly Robin Hood are when I said, somebody could be out of it early or still get themselves back into it. But clearly we see the demise right now of Robin Hood, and where could they find a point? I looked over at the bench on Thursday night and there was no one over there.
Yeah.
It's getting worrying now because they're one or two injuries away from not being able to even field a team, 11 players. So it's got to be a worrying time. Yeah.
It's a very important fact. It's a very important point that you brought up about numbers for Robin Hood and the younger players going away. What has been the whole for the last 5 years, the strategy in terms of this happens? Well, what do we have for backup? And they're like you said, well, are we sure they're going to even finish the season out? It's showing up a 10-man because, of course, what would happen? People will start losing confidence and not showing up for training. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but they don't have the numbers there, and so it's going to be a difficult road for their coach, Labrock, who's also playing. I believe he's still playing. Yeah. I didn't see the game the other night, but I thought what I heard the Northers played. Well, it depends on who they're playing against. Robin Hood. What can resistance will Robin Hood give? But Robin Hood's Robin Hood's, is it gonna be what we talked about at the beginning of this program about teams like Basco? I call it the dismantling of teams and clubs. What direction are these clubs really going? Are they attracted? Well, let's say for instance, could Robin Hood going out for John T. Smith? Could that happen? Did you put out the yeah? So which would help them. So what we're talking about really something here about teams that are in this division that haven't, and over the years they've been able to sustain themselves, but in terms of longevity, I think Robin Hood it's got problems. They got some problems there. Yes, they have.
And I know Dante was due to travel for his coaching badge. I think I didn't see him the other night, so I'm pretty sure he's already left to go and get his coaching badge. So they'll be even shorter for a period of time. I think he's away for 3 weeks, whenever that is. And if it's this 3-week period here, it's even a bigger struggle. I mean, how much longer can Timmy last? Constantly defending, because teams are just running at him now. So it's a lot to be desired at Robin Hood, and hopefully they get some help, and I want to see them finish the season, regardless of how it ends. But I want to see them finish the season because no team wants to start out something and not be able to complete it. So it would really hurt the league because somebody might need that goal difference, when playing a team. But we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll finish up the Premier Division results from this week. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, looking at today's matches, last night's match, PHC came from behind to defeat the Somerset Trojans 3-1. Somerset scoring early in the match, but then the goals dried up, and there they are again, giving up 3 goals. And if you're not scoring more than 3 and you're giving up 3 a game, you're gonna find yourself on the losing end. So makes you PHC able to put together a run to start the season. Obviously, they lost their first match to North Village 1-0, but they're kind of picked their pace back up. Looking at them, against a team like Somerset, what's your thoughts on the result itself?
But you have to expect that PHC was going to get this result with, like I said, Somerset unable to defend, and the type of firepower PHC's got at their disposal. Again, seeing a bit of this game, I'm still not happy with the way how PHC is playing. I think you had to expect them to beat Somerset. They're still not playing in a matter where they're dominating games. They can take advantage of teams like Somerset that is in the transitional period. They can take advantage of those type of teams. But it's the North Villages is the Daventry Racks that they need to be able to match up against. And while I think PHC have the players to match up, they're not got that puzzle together. They're not got that puzzle together to dominate these games yet. They're struggling with putting that puzzle together.
Right. And again, Punchy, but Somerset, they would have come into this game hoping to change their luck. They took a lead, but when you score early in a game, and things don't always go well, over the course of the game, you had PHC just kept picking away. And once they got that equalizer, I think, the body language of a lot of these Somerset players, and I always go back to when they conceded against PHC at Devonshire Rec, one of the first things happened off the bench was Scott was up and saying, pick your heads up, pick your heads up, pick your heads up. And there was only one. So he knows that they have a very, very low tolerance of, fighting back from behind. So, again, that Somerset, there's a lot of work to be done.
There's still a lot of work to be done for Scott. I tell you, this is going to be an interesting season for the coaching staffs of these clubs. Who's in charge? Because I witnessed that again when I was out there watching Somerset against Devonshire Cougars. They had a little bit chances, maybe one or two, but the minute the second goal went in, they just collapsed. And that would be, Somerset's got, like I said, the challenge of Morty would be, first of all, going into that particular club. And I think we spoke about that also, the mentality up there, the Silver City mentality. But it's not been shown for the last 5 or 6 years. Look at them in the turnover coaches.
Right.
So, but Morty again, with Somerset, it's just that short-lived. They went up against PHC. They celebrated, yes, but you always know, eventually they're gonna give up a goal. They have a lot of youngsters. They have youngsters there, and who's the leaders in the team? Who are the senior leaders that can hold something together? And I don't think, of course, we talk about Mr. Mean playing in that position for him. It's not going to work. It ain't going to work. And Morty's going to have to figure out, well, what's best for him, what's best for Somerset. And I think we go back to the old ways, play the old-fashioned way, maybe find a good striker, 2 wide players, 4 passes, ball over the top. Let's grit and high pressure. And that's what I saw against Cougars that Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
They were just, I was just like, well, Cougars were just doing anything they wanted. So, it's challenging for, it's going to be interesting for Scott Morton. Really keep them up? That's a good question. Will they remain in the division? That's a good question. Yeah. Because they lost the home game to St. George's. We speak about that with St. George's, but they're not even winning the home games. So, which used to be like, there was a fortress up there, but it ain't that no more.
Yeah. And speaking of St. George's, that match today, they defeated Hamilton Parish 5-2. St. George's had jumped out to a 2-0 lead early in the game, with John T. Smith scoring in the 11th and the 17th minute. And then Hamilton Parish were able to pull a goal back in the 21st. But then a third goal from John T. in the 47th. Cashhole and Blazehole scored before Walker scored again to make it 5-2. But Maceo, Goda, who's coaching Hamilton Parish, clearly maybe they had their eyes set on the semifinal and not concentrating on what was in front of them.
That wouldn't come from Sergio. What's happening down there? They had a high against. Just look at the high they had against beating Deniton. And then they got knocked back down to earth against what this league's about and what they're about and where they are on the journey with not taking points off of North Village when they should have dominated. I mean, they dominated the game at North Village and they should have took something off of North Village. So now what the challenge is to convince the players that they're going in the right direction. And this 5-2 is not going to be helpful to convince them that they're going in the right direction.
Right.
I think they were going in the right direction. So now this is where coaching comes in, where you earn your money coaching as to convincing the players. And I will cross-reference Liverpool beating City today. Last game, club put Mo Salah and Van Dijk on the bench in the Champions League. And there's ways that you have to go about convincing, and you shake up the team, you freshen up the team a little bit. Players that are not. There will be players that have been chomping at the bit down at Hamilton Parish. I think they deserve a chance to play. Do you give this players a chance to see what they do? Do you take some risks versus going with what you think you know? And I spoke I spoke about when I saw Parrish play North Village. Jordan Otterbridge was struggling. He struggled. He struggled. And that was the go-to player last year, right?
Right.
And interesting because last year I saw Jordan Otterbridge running around Bermuda. I saw him doing all his extras, and it showed up on the game in his game. I haven't seen this year, and does Sergio make some changes? This is where you earn your money at coaching, because I tell you, he does have the players. He does have players down there. This week Queen Otterbridge was missing because he got sent off against North Philly.
Right. That could have hurt him as well.
To match up Queen Otterbridge missing, and now Jonte Smith is playing. But this is where you earn your money at coaching, where you not got everything at your disposal, and you manipulate to be able to still get across the line. This is where you earn your money as coaching. And
it's a comment. The league is too fast for Jordan. He's too slow.
Yeah, and it is not really too fast. It's just how you use them.
Yeah.
It's like it's just how you use them. It's how you use them to be effective, and how you set your team up to take advantage of what he offers. Right.
Right. And Punchy, we talk about St. George's. We talk about the availability of now having an out and out striker in Jonte, someone who could put the ball in the net. Something that St. George's had been missing for a little while, because they would always had the threat with the Hall brothers wide, but it was that service Ian that wasn't quite always put away. Now here we have Jonte in the team, and 3 goals right at the beginning of the season for him. So I think they found somebody that's going to put the ball at least on target, which will force the defense now to pay attention.
Well, let's really talk about this, about coaches, what do they have at the disposal. Look, St. George's, Macy, you're talking less about Hamilton Parish, but when you add Jonte Smith to the Hall brothers, right, and you got the coaching staff down there that really doing. It's really interesting, because now you got quality in the top third. So the goals that they were scoring before with the Hall brothers, I think, who are adding such. It's a delight to watch them, because you do know there's quality there, and you were also talking about players that have played somewhere else. The football and education. Jonte's been over there for a while, so with the Hall brothers. And we could say, well, Hamilton Parish have a lot of good players. Yeah, they have some pretty good players. But in what positions? Let's say we were to say, let's put the teams up and say, well, this player is playing the game this side. You have to really, to me, St. George's got quality. Now the belief is coming. The expectations, a little step at a time, but the expectations are coming now. Now Jonte Smith's playing. Right. And I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And it goes to show that, yes, Hamilton Parish, with the guy you were just talking about, Mr. Otterbridge, what's your name? He was scoring the goals a couple of years last year. What's your name?
Jordan Otterbridge.
Jordan Otterbridge. Now, what does he have pace? Where's he playing? I always thought he belonged straight down the middle. I thought he's not really a fast player. He reminds me of also, I'm always trying to think. Who does he remind? He reminds me of a little bit of Robbie Fowler from from Liverpool. But why play him away from the goal? What I just, when I saw him playing North, he's playing away from the goal. I'm like, whoa. It's the same thing. Question I have about Marco One. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But I think now we are seeing. Now you have got Jonte Smith. What's going to be interesting if now this victory today, right? It's the coaching staff. What will they do now? Because now you got to give these guys the right information. If you got the right information to this, Alistair, then there's a cause for concern for a lot of teams.
Sure.
There's a cause for, really.
The final Premier Division match this weekend. Well, there's a match actually going on now. Devonshire Cougars and Boulevard. But the final match from this afternoon saw Dandytown jump out to a 2-0 lead after 13 minutes with Crossroads pulling a goal back in the 18th minute, but it would end Dandytown 2, Crossroads 0. Crossroads 1. again, Ralphie, you're giving up 2 goals, man. And you're only scoring 1. And unfortunately, Donovan Thompson ran off in the first half with a suspected injury. Not sure what that injury is, but when you look at the person that's been scoring regularly for you now, has found his goal scoring boots again. If he's unable to play for a few weeks, where do you go? Where do you find that person that's going to score? And you still have to fix the giving up the goal side. Maceo?
Yeah, is in a situation, and this is going to be a learning curve for Ralphie as to him exposing himself to a different brand of football, different way. And we talk about it, but that's not easy for coaches to expose themselves to a different brand of football when they had 40 years of one way of football. And Ralphie spent 40 years at North Village, right? And I say that about the Jamaica Janitors, the Marlon Deals, and the people at clubs that are one club, they know it one way, and now they're getting tested outside of that one way, and it's many different ways to play football, right? It's many different ways to play football. There's no right way or wrong way of playing football. A good coach is somebody that puts the puzzle together well, that convinces their players to see it their way and implement it. That's what the good coaches are able to do. Can you convince the players to see it your way? Can you implement? Can you put that puzzle together to get that result at the end of the day? That's what a good coach at this level is. A good coach at the youth level is can you develop players that have tools to play the game? 2 different things. So he's going to get tested. Ralphie's going to get these coaches, not just Ralphie. All these coaches are going to get very much tested as to are they actually good at what their job is. I mean, we talk about Jeremiah Wilkerson, and are you going to get tested as to can you get the players? Now, St. George is having players. These coaches going to get tested as to you got something at your disposal. Can you implement that to get results?
Yeah, Punchy, you mentioned it. Especially with St. George's coaches now. They have weapons now to go forward. But looking at what Dandytown have, they have weapons as well. And to this the second win in a row. They've played 2 games last week and this week. They've scored 5 times, but only given up 1 goal. So they seem to have fixed something, regardless of the opposition. Because what you want to do is get on a run and not give up goals, but actually score goals. So winning 2-1 for them, getting over the hurdle, take the 3 points, get out of St. David's. Is that a good thing for them?
Yeah, it's a good thing for them. I just still think that again, you're looking at Dandytown, and I think it's still a hangover for them in terms of, especially in Bermuda. What will these players know? The mentality of Dandytown players in terms of what they want to achieve this year. We heard all the time that we're going through the process of new coach, new. You can hear the new voice in the changing room who's in charge, but you're still thinking, well, just over the summer holiday, you've disintegrated, just like that. It's like, what happened here? What's going on? And I think we have to think about the mindset of players in this country in terms of like when we're going back years when I was playing and thinking about, as soon as the summer ends, I'm ready for the next league season. It's gonna be interesting again. Let's say Dandytown against Gurndon St. George's in a couple of weeks' time to play against St. George's on the home, and St. George's be home. It's gonna be very interesting because now we're talking about you got players that St. George have to what you got to work with. J. Bean has had a settled, what he was given. Now it's a matter of just putting it together, fixing it. What are we doing wrong here, guys? Where is our concentration? I think the concentration, we're scoring late goals because remember they're conceding goals also.
Right.
Which on the other hand for North Village, it seems to be getting right, the clean sheets. It ain't been no great football that I've seen about them, but about Dandytown it's mind-boggling, but it's kind of easy to understand about the mentality of players in this country.
I guess the players are still getting used to the new goalkeeper, Daniel Johnson, because Jade Mendes is going away to school, and the other young man that they had in goal, he moved on as well. So now you've got, as you guys already said, you got a different voice behind you. But how much confidence do you have in that new voice? You know what I mean? And that, I think they're learning that right now. And eventually they'll sort it out. I have enough confidence in a team like Dandytown. And Jay will have them sorted out. It's how long does that process take? Simple as that.
Well, Earl, I think before we go on to another subject, I think it's, we alluded to this about in this country. Let's put our hands up and say, okay, the top 5 teams. Let's say the top 5 teams. Let's say we're going to put Cougars in that. We're going to put North Village. We're going to put Somerset. No, not Somerset. We'll put Dandytown and PHC. And then the rest. And I'm not being facetious here, but then the rest. Now, I was thinking the St. George's is also becoming has started to get into that top 5. And believe it or not, I think that's going to be a surprise for this year. You know, so it's going to be interesting for Dandytown too. Those games are going to be so important. The game between St. George's and Dandytown, St. George's, and you know, going away from home, and so we are in for a real good. Even for North Village, what is really going to be going on here? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just before we go to the break, so right now there are 3 teams on 9 with Devonshire Cougars still to play in North Village, Dandytown, and St. George's. Devonshire Cougars have 6, but they are playing now. PHC have 6. And then again, you have Hamilton Parish on 3, Boulevard, who are playing now. Crossroads, Somerset, and Robin Hood have no points at all. So it's 4 teams with no points, 3 teams on 9, 2 teams on 6 with a game to be played, and 1 team on 3 points. So it like you said, it's going to be interesting as we get into the season, but still a long way to go. We expect that table to be up and down, but those teams on the bottom, you're already that far behind. But not far enough behind to say we could stay up, because you know 2 wins put you on 6 points where everybody else don't have any points. So you know, again, a team like Hamilton Parish, if they could put a run together starting next week, they'll be out of that talk for a little while. But it's putting that run together. So let's take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk First Division. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
welcome back. Well, yesterday at White Hill Field, Somerset Eagles would fall yet again, this time 5-2 to Island Rangers. They haven't started the season well, Somerset Eagles. They lost, as we all know, they lost a lot of players and they gained a lot of players, but it's going to take them that much longer to get together. I mean, they played 3 games and given up 12 goals and only scored 2. And that was the 2 they got yesterday. And of course, Island Rangers now, they've picked up their 2nd win of the season to go along with a defeat. Let's talk a little bit about Jeremy Salam at Somerset Eagles, because now they have a new coach, a bunch of new players, and they just were relegated, Maceo. So is he in a similar boat that I guess someone like Scott Morton will be in, or is he in the boat of what Ralph Bean's in?
Very, very well. I mean, I think it's all the same boat that they're in. Like Jeremy would have grown up down North Village, right? As his coaching and his thought process of the game looks like what was down North Village. But that North Village, how they like the game was very unique to different places in Bermuda. How they like the game. We have in this small country, unfortunately, we have 10 different ways that we like the game. So it goes back where I used to say last year about Jomar taking a Danny Town culture of football up Somerset. It's just not going to work. And Ralphie taking a culture of North Village football down Crossroads, it's not going to work. Jeremy Salon taking a cultural behavior of what he's grew up at North Village, anywhere else is not going to work, because they just don't have it. We don't have a similar culture of implementing the game and start to understand different players and different triggers of different players, is the real coaching tool of the game. So he's going to struggle up Somerset Eagles, because they just don't see the game the way that he sees it. And again, I just read a post where we have to normalize changing our mind. And what coaches don't do is change their mind how they like the game. I know as a coach, when I was a coach in North Village, me and Stricker, we changed our mind. We played the ball from back to front. We played long balls at the top, turn teams around, put them under the back foot, put crosses in and score goals. And then we was able to dominate the play of the game, the North Village way of game. But we really did change our mind how we like the game to get results. Jeremy's in a challenge, and I like to really just speak really quickly about Island Rangers up there, right? Because they got Marcio Hunt. Marcio Hunt understands the culture of Dockyard.
Yes.
He understands the culture of Somerset. Now, maybe when he was at Somerset Cricket Club, they wouldn't listen to him. Now he goes up Dockyard. He gets players that will listen to him, and now he's getting the results. So that's what's happening up Dockyard. I watch Island Rangers. They don't play badly.
Right.
They can collapse because that's what they're capable of doing historically. But when they're getting it right, they're getting it right. And Marcio Hunt has spent time in England, has got a UEFA license, has learned the game different from up Somerset, and is slowly trying to implement something. I would like to see a Marcio Hunt. It's just like I used to talk about Don Vickers. I would like to see a Marcio Hunt take over a Somerset senior team, or take over a club that has a higher expectation, to see what he actually really could do, rather than being in sort of underdog situation.
Right. And speaking of that, Punchy, Island Rangers usually a slow starter, but 2 wins in 3 games. When you have someone like Leo Burgess in your team that brings that quality to a team, and as Maceo has already said with Marcio Hunt, directing things from the sideline, I think they have a chance of proving themselves as a better team than what everybody thinks of them. Remember, a few years ago, they even got promoted, but came right back down. And I think lack of confidence and lack of players around hurt them. But now they have some quality there that could actually now change that mindset.
Yeah, I was speaking about Marcel Hunt and his coaching philosophy, and he has a culture of Somerset. You know, he's born and bred up there, so he, you know, even his affiliation with people he speaks to up in Somerset. You know, he's homegrown. I wonder if you've ever thought about this, sir. In the last 5 years, what's really happening up at the West End? I'm talking about, I'm even going as far as let's go from Southampton Rangers and going west.
Mm.
The demise of football in that area.
Mm.
Of like, what's happening up Somerset, what's happening up at Island Ranges? Of course, Marseille is up there. But even if let's say they get promoted, what's going to happen? Is he capable of getting the players from Somerset or Whitehill up there and have a strong team if he gets promoted? My concern for this country would be like the demise of the West End football in itself. You know, those teams used to be like Somerset, Whitehill. You know, you're gonna go up and see like some players and say, "Wow," you know. And what I see now is it's like just look at the results in the last couple of years for Somerset, with also Somerset Eagles. Getting back to Eagles, with Jeremy, definitely gonna have a problem there. Definitely. I know he's got a lot of young players. You know, they were last year against Norfolk, beat them up in 9-0. They just had given up. But now it'll be interesting what Jeremy can do, what we'll do with his philosophy of football. And he's gonna have to change too. I know, you know, he came from Norfolk and his thought process about football. It ain't working up there. It ain't gonna work up there. You can tell by the results. But my concern is for the West End in general in this country. What's really going on up there? And look at the turnover of the coaches. What's happening up in the West End? It'd be a cause for concern for me for the future of the country in terms of its strength in that area. And they always remember these be. I think we talked about this also. Somerset Eagles, and Island Rangers. There was always guys going each club. But they always stayed in these clubs. Where is the quality, the standards? Look what you've seen in the last 5 years for the West End football clubs, and that also includes Southampton Rangers. I'm putting them in there too.
Yeah. Then today it was Southampton Rangers 1, Paget Lions 1. We talked about Paget having this influx of players, and we all thought if they get it right, they'll run away with the league. But they've struggled with the result. They haven't lost, but they haven't won. So what do you think the confidence level is right now with Paget and all these players, especially the ones that would have played last year but probably now struggle to even get into the team? So what do you think that confidence level is now, Maceo?
Well, I don't think what they would do is Paget's not going to. The type of players are not going to struggle with confidence. What they're going to struggle with being overconfident. So they're not struggling with confidence. They have players that's gonna figure it out, right? They do have players in their team that's gonna figure it out. I think they approach this in an overconfident way, and because they approach it in an overconfident way, they are not getting the results that they thought were gonna be easy because they can walk on the field with these type of players. But there's also length argument to the argument that in Bermuda we believe if you've got all the good players, you could just let them play. That's not how it works. I mean, I got that a lot at North Village. Make sure you only won because you had good players. Again, translating how you want these good players to play, translating how you pick the team and put that puzzle together so they cooperate together. And the one thing that you get with good players and big personalities, they all have their own mentality of how they want to do things. I can remember being in the dressing room with North Village Rams, when all we guys were older and we have these strong mentalities and we want to play football as 11 of us want to play football in 11 different ways because we all have our idea of what we want to do and we're strong-headed as to what we want to do, but it never works. It looks disorganized. So the coaching now at Paget, they've got a job to do to take these big personality players, these players that actually do have a bit of an ability in the game, to put the puzzle together and get them to organize to get results. And that's not as easy as people think it is. Right. We say it a lot. Oh, you got good players, you're supposed to win. That's not how it works. And this is proven. This is proven how it works because you would think those players in the lower division should just walk away and get results.
Right.
They're gonna figure out how to organize.
Yeah. And Punchy, Southampton Rangers last year struggled incredibly. And we didn't give them any hope this season. We thought they would struggle with, losing players as well and so forth. But under their new coach, they've played 2 games this season. They've beaten Ireland Rangers, and now they've drawn with Paget. And today, obviously, was a derby. I mean, because they're both training at Southampton Oval. The area is close. All the players know each other. So it was that type of game and that type of atmosphere today. But Southampton Rangers, has their start surprised you?
Yeah, for sure. I just don't know. Does anyone know who's in charge of them? Who's coaching them?
Yeah.
Michael Richardson. He was coach at last year at Social Club.
Social Club.
Okay, right. So he's galvanized them. He's galvanized them from where they were. But yeah, if it's again about structure, about strength of even if they are promoted, I'm looking at in if they get promoted, where do you go from here? Some of the Rangers, I think it's quite interesting because after Striegel left, they were like in tatters. They were all over the place. You heard the papers about the cricket team, what's going on up there. It's interesting to see what's going to happen this year. But in that league, structure, organization, players buying into what you have, because you know how the mentality is with a lot of players. And in that division, they think, I know it all. I know what's going on. So I kudos to Southampton, which I didn't think was going to happen. If I can add on to about Paget, when you get in the driver's seat, is a whole different from sitting in the passenger seat. It's different. So Antoine Russell is in the driver's seat now. The problem that I did that trying to play and coach, it's a very difficult situation. Evan Maceo saying with the Eagles there, they think automatically, we're supposed to win. Come on, man. Dion Starwell and I'm playing in midfield with Mr. Russell, who's coaching him. But it doesn't work that way. I would rather see him just coach, not play, just coach. Let's see what Antoine Russell will bring to the table. And it's a complete turnaround, It's going to be a complete turnaround of all these players. How do you organize them? What do you do with the talent that you have?
Let me speak from this historically, because Antoine Russell is grandson of Tansy Russell. Obviously, Tansy Russell is my grandpa as well, right? So Tansy, when he took over coaching, he did the same thing. He was sort of a player coach type of thing. Now we have to ask, what results did he get as a coach? From me as a coach and being part of the Russell family, I understood the argument about a good player doesn't make a good coach. So I focus on that piece. I focus on being a good coach, not what I know as a player, because it's 2 different behaviors. So Antoine's got to make this transition. I like to see those type of people coaching, but now it's got to make this transition. Rolf has got to make this transition. These type of people have got to make this transition and becoming a good coach. Me and Goda used to talk about it when he first came to Bermuda, but Goda made the transition. If you remember Goda, he first was playing for North Village and filling gaps. Then the conversation now, if you're going to be, and Carl Lightbourne, same thing. He was playing for PAC and filling gaps. Then they figure out how to be a good coach and translate their information to get results. So these coaches have got to now decide are they going to let go the thing of playing and really focus on becoming a good coach? Because you can't be both of them. You can't be a good player and a good coach at the same time.
Well, for Paget's sake, I mean, you have someone like Don Vickers there as well. So he's got that extra support that actually can benefit, the whole unit as a whole. I mean, if Antoine wants to help on the field, then he has to allow Don to make those decisions on the side, or vice versa.
Got that personality, right? You have to.
We're talking about the coaching mindset has to change. You're going to have to relinquish something in order. Listen, last week.
There's players out there, let's be honest. There's players that have Patrick because
Right.
Antoine. You saw what Antoine did at Robin Hood when he was the leadership, because he does have leadership. He was the leadership that brought those players there.
Right.
So he has to decide right now, is he going to be coaching even as an assistant, or is going to be player, because he can do both.
Right. Yeah. And the final match of the weekend in the first division, it was St. David's 1, Wolves 5. Wolves got 4 goals from Mariko Iris, and put away as Punchy, as you often talk about. Wolves unpredictable, but they can put a run together, especially in that division. We saw that last year. They put a run together, but they came up short. So looking at a team like Wolves, they're playing St. David's, coming away 5-1. Where do you see what does this result do for a team like Wolves?
Well, let's go back to playing against St. David's. I had a discussion last week with someone about St. David's and the whole concept on it, what they're doing, what they're trying to do. I wish Aaron Lugo, I believe he's in charge of the team. Aaron Lugo, yeah. They are in the team. They're not going to be demoted from that division, St. David's. So anyway, Wolves are still Wolves are still unpredictable. They drew the other night with someone, I think it was a BAA. Yes. Okay. Against Andrew and his coaching staff. Quality, but still, who's in charge of them? Who's doing the coaching? And let me talk about coaching. Sometimes, even Antoine, they need someone who they can bounce off, who can have talks with about football. Not just somebody who comes in and says, "Oh, I'm in the position of assistant coach with you," but you don't have getting the ideas. And I had Devin as assistant Davis. At least I had George O'Brien, had David Schraders. We used to talk all the time of what we should do with St. David's. Wolves are still a problem there, and it's going to be a problem because I think they don't have the coaching infrastructure to complement the talent that they have. That's what I truly believe there.
It would have been interesting if Ralphie went down Wolves. He's from there, right? Imagine if Ralphie went to Wolves. He grew up with that. He kind of secretly considers himself, a Hermitage boy, right? He wouldn't say that loud at North Village, but I know. But
I'm putting you on the spot, yeah.
Yeah. But I would think is if Ralphie went down Wolves, I bet you it would be a different type of result. If he was at Wolves.
I think so.
Yeah.
And Mason for St. David's, where do they go from here? I mean, they haven't started the season well.
Yeah, St. David's, I mean, they're not gonna get it right, man. They're not gonna get it right. I haven't seen them get it right. I mean, I had the Basel coaches that had Andrew down there at certain times, that had Herbie over there, that Sergio over there. That the Basel coaches, they're a cricket club. I hate to say they do well in cricket. So I can't see him getting it right. And Blas Lugo, he tries hard, but I can't see them getting it right where they become significant at football. They haven't become significant at football. I think the best thing that happened for St. David's when it came to football was North Village playing down their field.
They also have Boulevard, and Boulevard was running hot too. So.
Yeah. You get one of the premier teams that are running hot playing down there, and that's the best thing that happens for football down there.
Yeah. But we're going to take our final commercial break. When we come back, we're going to look at our picks from last week and then have our picks for the week coming. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. So last week we had to finish off the match between the Boulevard Blazers and Dandytown Hornets, which we know Dandytown won 3-0. So last week I finished with 5, putting me on 7. Punchy went to 6 because he picked Dandytown. Myself, I took a draw for that game. Punchy and Coach Keita took Dandytown, and Maceo, you took Boulevard. So I finished with 5. Punchy finished with 6, Maceo finished with 6, and Coach Keita finished with 4. So the scores were 7 for me, 8 for Punchy, 8 for Maceo, and 6 for Coach Keita. Maceo, you're going to hang with that notion that women are smarter?
It's not over yet. It's not.
I just thought I'd throw that in.
It's not over.
Okay, so this week we saw Wednesday night. We saw Somerset defeat Crossroads 4-3. I myself and the Coach Keita took Somerset, and Punchy and Maceo took Crossroads. And then Cougars defeated Boulevard 3-1. We all took Devonshire Cougars. And then today's matches, last night's match, we all took PHE to defeat Somerset, and they did that 3-1. St. George's and Hamilton Parish, so myself, Punchy, and Coach Keita took St. George's. Maceo, you took Hamilton Parish. And then Crossroads and Dandytown, we all took Dandytown, and they won 2-1. Robin Hood and North Village, we all took North Village, and North Village won that 4-0. In the first division, Somerset Eagles and Island Rangers, we all took Island Rangers. Island Rangers won that 5-2. The match between BAA and Young Men's Social Club was called off last night due to a flooded pitch. And then Southampton Rangers and Paget Lions, we all took Paget. And this is, we know that match ended in a 1-1 draw. And then St. David's played Wolves, and Wolves won 5-1. We all took Wolves. So at the end of it, I had 9. Maceo had 7, with Punchy also having 7, and Coach Keita on 8. So the scores now, I'm on 16, Punchy and Maceo are 15, and Coach Keita is on 14. Now, let's turn our attention to this week. As we said, Boulevard and Crossroads have a very short week. They play on Wednesday night. There's a doubleheader in the Premier Division on Wednesday night. Boulevard facing Crossroads at BAA Field. Punchy, you're first up.
I'm going to Boulevard to beat this. I'm going to take Boulevard. I think Boulevard, yeah. I feel that Boulevard will win this one.
Maceo?
This is a difficult one to deal with, because both other teams are in the same position. I mean, I'm minded to say Boulevard because of, as a club, they're used to being in a situation like this. But as a team and players, this is a big situation. And then the other part of it is, all right, Crossroads has been around the league long enough that they feel that they owe themselves something to be able to get into a finals and to see what that can do for them. Yeah. So
Now, this is league. This is the league match. This
this
is league match.
is like league semifinals.
No,
League match.
this is league.
My fault. Yeah, this is a difficult one. I'm gonna pick a draw for this one then.
Okay. And I'm actually gonna take the Boulevard Blazers with Punchy. Then the nightcap is the Dandytown Hornets host Devonshire Cougars. Maceo.
Cougars they know they need to get this across the line to say I'm here for real.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Devonshire Cougars as well. And Punchy?
I'm gonna take Cougars as well. I think that I think in terms of what I've seen thus far and the results, I'm gonna go with Cougars on this one. It's gonna be one of those back to front games. I'm gonna tell you punch for punch, but I'm gonna go with Cougars on this one.
Okay. And then on Saturday at 3:00 at Wellington Oval, Hamilton Parish entertain PHC Zebras. And the way things are going right now, I'm gonna take PHC. Punchy?
Oh, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with Hamilton Parish on this one.
Okay.
I think we'll turn it around. I think they'll turn it around. They get a result. I think they get a result against PHC.
Okay. Maceo?
It is a difficult one. PHC struggles against a team that comes to them organized. They struggle, and I think Parish will be organized. It'll be interesting to see how they dig deep to be able to, to come back at it. But
the trick is who's available on Saturday.
What's that?
The trick is who's available on Saturday.
Yeah, it's that this is a different one to call, man. I think I'm good with PHC because I think PHC is just as a club and a stature, they're gonna use that to get across the line.
Then on Sunday, North Village Rams host Somerset Trojans at Bernard Park. Punchy?
I'm gonna go with North Village for this one. I think still Somerset's got to iron out some things. But I think I'll go with North Village. They're struggling in the last couple of years against Somerset too. But I still think that Kenny got some things right. What Macy was saying, moving Tyler Knight's inside, don't expose him out wide. Not being picked on as much. So I think North Village will win this one.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, North Village is becoming hard to beat, right? They're becoming hard to score on. It should be straightforward for North Village to win this one, to be honest.
Okay. And I have taken North Village as well. And then the final match in the Premier Division for the week is St. George's Colts entertain Robin Hood. Maceo.
St. George's. Oh, look at that. Jonte Smith is like Harlem right now, like Erling Haaland right now. It's like it's an unfair advantage. It's an unfair advantage. You got the professionalism of Jonte Smith playing against these players. Anything less than 2 goals a game for Jonte is a failure. He should be able to score 2 goals a game at least in this league for the stature of player he is, the professional that he is, and the ability that he is. My thing with Jonte, why did North Village not get him? Whatever it took, why did North Village not get him? And why did Ralphie not go get him? Did Ralphie, as his uncle, miss a trick there? He ended up down St. George's, right? I know he stays down there at Davis, but St. George's is his cricket club. It's not his football club. Why did North Village or his didn't get him? Whatever it cost, too.
That's a question you can ask him the next time you see him.
I will put him on the spot with that question. I'll tell you that question is coming.
I'm gonna take St. George's for that one as well. And Punchy?
I'm gonna take St. George's for a win on that.
Okay. All right. Now we turn our attention to First Division. On Saturday at Southampton Oval, it is Paget Lions and Somerset Eagles. I'm gonna go with Paget on this one. Somerset Eagles are struggling, and I think Paget would have enough to get over the line for this one and maybe kickstart their season. Macy, Punchy.
I'm gonna go with Paget to win on that. I think you put that right, Earl. That would be the kickstart to the season. What they need to do to put it right. Eagles are gonna be in trouble for a while. Definitely not with what we've seen thus far. The scores are just showing it.
Right.
Like Paget, the first this will do. I think I'll pick Paget for this one for sure.
Okay.
So
Macy?
I'll pick Paget 2 weeks in a row. Gave him my positive love 2 weeks in a row, and I'm sending this message out to Paget's president, who taunts me when he sees me in the street.
Yes.
Up Rangers today, I spoke to the Rangers people, and the Rangers people said, well, Paget's like Nottingham Forest, got 20 signers in and still can't win. That's what's being said. I'm going to pick Paget for this week. Again, saying they don't get it right, they're going to see the other side of Mayfield. So make sure, can't come with criticism. Last year, I picked Paget not to win a game. This year, I picked
You picked not to lose the game.
And they haven't lost the game, but
Haven't lost. Yeah.
So
then on Sunday, it is at Wellington Oval, Wolves versus Devonshire Colts. And Maceo, you are first.
Yeah, Wolves. I'm going to pick Wolves to beat Devonshire Colts.
I'm actually going to take this one as a draw. I think with when Ray's around, Devonshire Colts play a lot more organized and disciplined, and they'll have a way to stop Wolves from outscoring them on the day. So I'm going to take a draw for this one. Punchy?
I'm gonna go with Wolves on that one. I'm definitely gonna go with Wolves. Ray Jones ain't gonna fix that overnight. No. Wolves is that 5-1 thrashing of, even though they beat St. David's 5 at St. David's, but I think they remain on the high. I think Wolves is gonna beat Devonshire Colts next Sunday.
Sure. And then the next match is Young Man Social Club will face Ireland Rangers at Police Field. I'm actually going to take Social Club on this one. Punchy?
Whoa. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with Social Club on this one with Streaker there. I got to give Streaker some credit because, he will bring that organization. I still think with Mr. Hunt traveling, coming downtown to play. No, I'm gonna give the heads up to Social Club for this victory.
Maceo?
Yeah, I think Ireland Rangers, as long as they got Leo Burgess available, very direct, he can trouble all the defenses in there. Ireland Rangers, I'm gonna go with Ireland Rangers.
Okay. And the final first division match of the weekend sees Southampton Rangers host BAA. Punchy.
Whoa. I'm going to draw for this. This is going to be a draw game.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, BA is going to contain BA is going to be able to contain the excitement of everything, and figure out how to approach a goal. BA for me.
I'm taking BAA as well. I think watching Southampton Rangers play today, they play it with a lot of fight and determination. And I think a lot of that brewed from the fact that it was a rivalry, and everybody knew each other, and that battle, they battled hard. They're gonna face a different outfit in BAA, who, as we know, under Andrew and his coaching staff, they're gonna play a lot different. So for that, I'm gonna take BAA as well. I think they'll slow the game down enough where Southampton Rangers will find themselves chasing the ball a lot more than they did today. And how well would they last if they don't score early? They're going to find themselves in a deep pool. So, well, gentlemen, we've come to the end of another Island Stats football show. We look forward to these picks this week. And, may it long continue with me leading. But as we know, watching these teams, they're so unpredictable, man. They never
I'm telling you, they are.
So you almost gotta go on. You gotta go on emotion sometimes, and what is up for grabs and what is going on.
Most times I'm not using my football brain to pick it. Like I'm, my football brain don't work in this environment, man.
It's really good. It's like I think we discussed this before we finish about how interesting it's going to be with coaches that we know, Morty and Jomar, what they have to work with, and what St. George's now have at their disposal. And it's going to be interesting to see what the coaching staff is going to be when those teams play against each other. And then at North Village, it bodes well for interesting, because now the fingers are starting to be pointing at the coaching staff. Yeah, what do you have at your disposal? What do you use it? Are you smart enough? What's going on here? And the results, again, statistics going to speak for themselves when you start analyzing. So again, remember talking about who's coaching who. When you put Morty, Jomar, and Mr. Coach Jr., you got Kenny down in North Village. Now you got Patches. You got the three guys starting to coaching. It's something else. It's going to be it's going to be interesting. I think we're in for a very interesting season this year.
I'm going to throw in a plug for North Village because they're celebrating their 65th anniversary on Saturday night at Hamilton Princess. And for those that haven't gotten a ticket, I would encourage you to get a ticket and just witness what North Village has been about for 65 years. They're going to honor some of their veterans and people that have contributed to the club. And, we look forward to a good night at Hamilton Princess on Saturday night. And then, of course, they entertain the Somerset Trojans on Sunday. So Somerset, send some people down to Hamilton Princess because the North Village players will be there, hopefully. And you never know what you can get out of it on Sunday. So we'll see.
Yeah,
you guys have a good night. Good
Thanks,
night, everyone.
Take care.